Hold on. Just getting some extra coffee here, people, okay? Unbelievable. All right. Where's my MAGA hat? Let's make America grow again. All right, what's up, everybody? Trying a new mic out. You know what? I'm going to turn this light on, too. All right. What's up, everybody? I'm Arash Amini, founder of Stack, the world's best indoor farming platform, made specifically for home growers that don't know what the fuck is going on, so they can produce meaningful nutritional food, a meaningful amount of highly nutritious food for their families, themselves, their families, and communities. The indoor farming world right now is a mess. It's a scam. No one's making money. The only people making money are assholes like me selling picks and shovels. Otherwise, you're just burning cash hoping to find the answer. And you're probably not going to find the answer because you've invested too much into the wrong direction. You're too far down the Shit's Creek, if you know what I mean. So expect to see all of them go out of business, except for the ones that do business with us. Obviously, you'll see. So who am I to talk so much shit? I'm the one that's failed more than anyone else has even tried in this industry. Has that made me more humble? A little bit. Has that made me more arrogant? Yes. Has that decreased my bullshit tolerance to zero? Yes. I have no more space for bullshit. Speaking of bullshit, Bill Nye on Last Week Tonight, John Oliver's Last Week Tonight on HBO, he's desperate, okay? These, what do you call them? Globalist, anthropomorphic, global warming shills. These global warming shills, that pretty much sums it up, are trying to convince the world that 4.2% of if our atmosphere hits 4.2% carbon dioxide, we're all gonna die. Even though it's at like, was it 3.5, and now it's 3.9 under some measurements. And though plants can handle 10%. And so notice they don't talk about the percentage of total atmospheric gas by volume that is CO2. They use the more disingenuous and scarier notion of parts per million. We're at 375 parts per million. And if we go up to 420 parts per million, we're all gonna die. Antarctica is gonna melt. Everyone's gonna... Just stop. Y'all are dummies. Man, the dogma of bad science never changes. And it's a prevailing, fundamental constant throughout history. The entire scientific community believes that the Earth is the center of the universe, that the Earth is flat, that cigarettes are healthy for you, that women are not as intelligent as men. Pick your poison, right? The entire scientific community is filled with a bunch of idiots that look at the world through pinholes and then try to tell us how to live our lives. And they're constantly wrong. Science is the art of being wrong as little as possible. Or maybe a better way to put it, science is the art of being right for as long as possible. Because no one is right in science forever. Every single theory, model, framework, equation has been proven false given enough time, because new dimensions, if you will, to reality, or the model, or the experiment, or the phenomenon in question are constantly discovered. So, what is this guy ranting about in his Make America Grow Again hat? The sun's the entire global warming heterodoxy, dogmatic doctrine, the canon, you know, I'm a church-going Catholic. Let me throw that out there. Haven't been baptized, but used to be an atheist, staunch, like semi-militant atheist, became agnostic, became spiritual, became religious, became Christian, and now I'm a Catholic, and I can explain that later. But my point being is, I used to be one of these brainwashed NPCs that thinks whatever a person in a white lab coat says is the gospel, and they are not to be questioned because they are science, right? That's kind of what people do. They give their authority to someone with a white lab coat, and if you know how to manipulate the consensus, or you're just, it's just a natural cycle of ignorance through humanity's scientific progress, evolution, then it doesn't matter because most of the people are wrong. So the fundamental thing in science is you got to understand base assumptions. The base assumptions of your model dictate what you ignore forever moving forward. One of the base assumptions in the global warming model, in mass or in general, is that the only thing that affects the Earth's atmosphere or weather, climate, is solar irradiance. Electromagnetic photons leaving the sun, hitting the Earth, and then what happens thereafter, how many bounce off, how many are reflected back in, how many hit, you quit, all of the Earth's climate can be directly linked to how many photons are being released by the sun at any given moment. Even though Neil deGrasse Tyson himself admitted on Facebook the fact that the sun is getting stronger every year. Now, at the same time, new physics has been very well researched and I would say proven to show that the solar irradiance is not the whole picture. The magnetic field of the sun has a definitive effect on the Earth's climate. To what extent, we won't know. But if these models that are far superior, these magnetic models that are far superior to any global warming model I've ever come across, and I'd be happy to recheck my assumptions, I do regularly, I make it a sport to prove myself wrong. It's like, having other people do it sucks. Doing it for yourself is like the best drug in the world, second to discovery. Maybe because it's a precursor to discovery, and you open a little door in your brain, in your mind, where you're like, hey, that was closed off before. What's in there? Right? Proceed with caution, but do proceed. And so my point being, Bill Nye, all these idiots that are now swearing, like myself, I guess, I'm just count me as one of the idiots of infinite jest. We are yelling at the camera, telling you this is the truth. Okay, Bill Nye lights a globe on fire and calls us fucking kids because we're not addressing the issue. His fundamental assumption is incomplete. Let's just state the facts. He's not playing with the full deck of cards, if you know what I mean. He's also a fucking engineer that wears a bow tie on TV. So like, 3 strikes, you know what I'm saying? And you're out. Engineer, sorry guys and gals, bow tie, pretty hard to pull off. And you gotta like, and global warming shill. Sorry man, 3 strikes, you're fucking out of here. The next 20 years will prove you definitively wrong, and you will, like all your ignorant cohorts or colleagues, be shuffled off into non-existence, into social exile, like the fucking pharma twin, or the not twins, but that pharma family that been pumping us full of oxycontin. And so, if you're a dummy, that's okay. We're all dumb. We're all born ignorant. But if you believe in global warming, you need to fuck off. Like, get out. This brand, this show is not for people. It's not for NPCs. Take a hike. I don't want to talk to you. You can troll me. If it's funny, I'll play along. If it's insightful, I'll listen. But if you are just repeating what you've heard other people repeat then this show is not for you. For those of you that are nodding violently in agreement, as a mentor would say, this show's for you. Because you know global warming's bullshit, you feel it in your gut, and you don't know why. And I'm telling you why. Because the model is incomplete, and the new data is going to completely, I believe, is completely currently overshadowing the effects of solar irradiance on the Earth's climate, and the major player is the sun's magnetic field. As new geophysics is showing and will continue to prove. I am rather certain. I've seen it, I've seen both sides, and I'm telling you the physics rests on one side of the argument, not on both sides. There's no physics on their side except for the greenhouse effect, which oddly enough, we know how much, okay, if your model can't predict anything, then it's not, if your model can't predict anything, it's not a theory. How do I say that? You can make a model that maps data and says, okay, because the data is moving like this, we believe our model predicts, we created this model that explains 80% of previous data points, and this model predicts the next data point is going to be here. Like, and that goes right. Times you're getting a theory. A theory is not just this thing you make up. It's like proven out by, it has a basis in experimental data, right? Repeatable, falsifiable experiments. The global warming camp has no such predictive model. Even though we can measure, we're in a pretty steady state system here. The sun's solar radiance isn't doubling or tripling or getting cut in half. It's pretty continuous given a short period of time, 30, 50 years that we've been measuring accurately. The Earth's atmosphere isn't off-gassing or being added to tremendously. It's pretty steady state too, given a time span of under 100,000 years, right? Unless you have some major meteoric impact, like mass extinction event, you're not going to have a tremendous increase, a doubling or tripling of certain gases in the atmosphere. Unless you had a huge meteor hits, it triggers seismic activity, none of that's happening. So if you shrink the time scale to human level, last 100 years, let's say, okay, we've been measuring ice core samples for 100 years pretty reasonably, accurately. We know what the solar output is from all our satellites, from the 70s at least, and that solar data with the ice core data tells us the atmospheric content, because there's isotopes the isotopes found in the snow and precipitation are like a good proxy for what's in the atmosphere, right? As things fall from as water falls from the sky, it grabs all sorts of stuff, particulates in the atmosphere, and then the decay rate of certain isotopes are known, are the ones in the, so you can figure out how old this stuff is, plus the layering of the ice layers. So we have a pretty good set of two data sets. Someone fucking tell me, what is the global, what would you call it? The global warming factor. And how does it affect climate? We know the sun is putting out X amount of photons with all the data, and we know the atmosphere is full of, A, B, and C amounts of global warming gases. So we should be able to cross-correlate how much output is, and we have the temperature measurements from the last, 50 to 100 years. So why can't someone fucking tell me when the sun's output goes up this much, the Earth's temperature is going to go up this much, and then prove it right? I don't understand. There's all the data you fucking need, and if there's a paper out there, I would love to read it. Please send it to me. I'm going to read the summary, and if there are conclusions, I'll read the summary. I'll certainly guarantee that. And if it warrants more investigation, I will do it, and if you prod me enough, I will gladly read something, or if you highlight sections in it. But you have to get to the methods and the processes and the procedures and the assumptions and how much data do they leave out, right? You have to look at each experiment as a story, first off, an idea, a hunch that led to this experiment looking for certain answers. The questions you ask in science are the only will determine the answers you're even possibly going to find. Very rarely, often by accident, does an unasked for answer pop into a scientific experiment. Because science is so narrow, you have to really fine-tune your experiment to isolate, fucking a certain type of gas molecule in the atmosphere. Because your spectrum, you can't just measure all gas. There's like certain molecules are going to be measured by certain types of apparatuses, a certain type of apparatus. Each one has its own faults and, is only good here, and that gives you a good idea of these, you can measure these types of molecules, for instance. And so there's the scientific experiment, the setup determines everything. It's quite literally like we are using Hubble telescope to peer into space, but we can only fucking look at and analyze the pinpoint of the sky in which we point the telescope in the first place. So determining where you point the telescope, science is ultimately a microscope, if you will, or a telescope peering into the stars. Where you point it determines what you can see. And if you don't point it at a black hole, you can't fucking study black holes. Unless, by random sheer luck, dumb luck, 1 in a million times, it pops up. And even then, it takes an exceptionally open-minded scientist to look at answers that were not in their initial question. Like, once, all the famous people had that gift. Newton, Einstein, Curie, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Tesla. So, Bill Nye's a fucking idiot, man. God, I don't like him at all. His stupid eyebrows, and this is coming from his eyebrow daddy here, okay? I'm in the eyebrow club. He just looks like Spock's effeminate liberal twin. He looks like Spock's liberal twin. Here to enforce social justice on us instead of logic. And it's, I'm no Star Trek fan, but fuck, man. And then he gets all this press time. The issue, why am I so mad? Who cares? Because global cooling is coming. The models that are 100 times better than anything the anthropomorphic global warming crowd has produced predicts all past solar magnetic data, all 3,000 years of it, via sunspot activity back in the day. I should say, including ancient sunspot observances and modern highly accurate magnetic field observances, which is like incredible, rare, very rare. Like that should, a philosophy of science philosopher should, like, that puts a red flag. That puts a MAGA hat on your head. Whoa. That's crazy. That's very rare, very rare. And it's a good sign. So this thing that has like mathematical underpinning, a fucking equation that was derived from a massively complex, I think Fourier transformation of like endless amounts of sinusoidal data points, is predicting global cooling. And we look at the sun right now, it's in a global minima. There's almost zero solar magnetic activity. Sunspots, very few, if anything. It's like eerily calm. This is going to affect our food supply, people. And if you don't want to believe that, then fuck off. This ain't for you, son. You can go buy my system from a competitor that'll knock it off in a year. I guarantee it. This brand is for people that want to be on the edge of knowledge, practice living the truth, and enjoy the healthy lifestyle that those two things afford you. Because we're going to bring this technology to every fucking home, and you're going to have better food and a better immune system than you could have ever imagined. Because you rock. That's it. Nothing against NPCs. Love them to death. But I don't have to serve them with my hard-earned, hard-spent labor. This isn't free. This isn't a charity. It takes fucking time and effort. And now I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, God damn it. This is going to turn into a real business. I didn't want this to be a real business. I wanted this to be a membership site where I can just chill, but the issue is, first off, when there's work to be made or work to be done, you must work. That's like the one thing I learned from my dad. When there's work, you gotta work because there's not always going to be work. And if you have something that's going to help people, it's your moral obligation to share with as many people as possible. And my issue, after talking to my beloved wife, is by the time I get enough memberships, low-cost memberships, to make financial reinvestment possible, meaningful reinvestment possible, it's going to take forever. Unless I dump a ton of money into advertising, which I'm not keen to do because I'm spread out across other projects right now. And I simply can't. I don't have the dry powder, as they would say, to do that meaningfully. And I'm not going to take on an investor unless it's like a godsend person that understands. Unless it's a fucking person that will watch this video and listen to the math. I mean, just by saying this, I'm pre-filtering like 90% of investors, venture institutional capital, who would never invest in a conservative, let alone a global warming denier. I'm a global warming denier. Fine, okay. I deny it's happening. It's the truth. Which is interesting because all the smart people are on, not all the smart ideas that we need for the next 30, 50 years are on the right. All the capital's on the left. So we're left to our own devices here. The meek shall inherit the earth, they said. And so we have to bootstrap all our fucking ideas because you can't get this funded by a liberal investor. You can't. I mean, I've tried. I'm rather convinced it's fucking impossible. The only way they're gonna do it is if my business is so exciting to them that it overtakes their resistance to my political views. And I'm like, fuck off. I don't need you. I don't want you. Anyway, so the way I've concluded, obviously, that we should be running this business so that it can scale as fast as possible because winter is truly coming, is by selling the kits at a markup, at a healthy markup. Not this at cost shit I wanted to do. First off, no one's going to fucking buy it. Second off, it takes money to advertise to people that are going to spend, X amount of money. And third is, there's like a lot of legwork that goes into not only selling it, which is like marketing and all this stuff, that's fine, but customer service and support, oh my god. The whole point is you can use this as a platform to grow whatever you want, and with it are going to come 1,000 questions, let alone assurances, let alone, errors, let alone shipping, and so it's like, for $10 a month, that's about $100 a year from every person, let's say after some minimal expenses, every member. And let's say they stay for a year. Okay, so we have a lifetime value of $100 per customer in this one membership model. So to make $1,000, I need 10 people to sign up. And that's if I get their customer acquisition cost under $20, which is very, very good. 1 to 5, $20 to $120 in lifetime value, or $20 to $100 in lifetime value. That ratio, CAC to LTV, is like really good. So that's like ideal, right? That's like, wow. And even then I gotta pour money into it to actually get enough members to do what I want. So to do that, to spend the marketing dollars to build up the membership, I need some cash up front. I have spent way too much money on indoor farming. I will not invest my own money. It's just, fuck off. No. I'm doing it now. This is as much as I'll do. Second, I don't want to take venture capital. Third is, so what do? Well, if I mark up the price of this kit, then that money, every sale, can generate many people's worth of annual membership, and that money can go towards selling more systems, supporting those customers, but also getting people into the membership. So I think what I'm exploring is both. Here's a low-cost membership price, and all the parts are listed there. You can go buy them yourself, or one-click kit purchase, and with our markup. Because, as my wife pointed out, 6 years of R&D has gone into this system, and I'm not kidding. It's the truth. I didn't invest a lot of my cash because I had none, but I made shit money during that. I gave up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of employment. Ignorantly or not, naively or not, wrongly or not, I did to pursue this. And what that did buy me, though, is the speed of iteration. And so I've been able to test ideas faster than anybody else in the market. And I'm ahead of everybody. It's crazy. I can't believe it. And it looks simple because it is. It's an elegant fucking solution to a rather complex problem. And it took me 6 years to trial and error enough. Lots of research, so on. There's an R&D cost that we should be making up. It's not like I just started doing this yesterday and we're learning together. I've already done all the hard errors. We're at like 90%. Let's say 75%. Let's give ourselves a break here. Let's be real. We're at like 75% to its final product. And we haven't even started manufacturing stuff. We're not going to get to 100% of, like iPhone 3, Google Pixel 3. That's the final form factor of a smartphone. That's as good as it's fucking going to get until the next thing happens and then we started Nokia brick phones again, right? Whatever, wearables and, I don't know, implants. God only fucking knows. Speaking of which, this whole like transhumanist thing, I know people love it, but they're fucking idiots. Because if you do too much to your biology, you won't be able to procreate. You'll be another species, and you'll be like a mule. You can easily become sterile. You have too much fucking heavy metal in your blood because you have all this water touching all this metal, and eventually some of it's going to corrode. It's like, chill, people, okay? The human cell is the most advanced piece of machinery in the known universe. Whatever we do with nanotechnology is going to end up fucking mimicking a human cell. Because there's nothing we can do that a human cell can't do a million times better. Throw them in a bag and you get a person that can then write a symphony. Like, what? That's insane. So, anyway, to me though, this seems like we're like the next generation of hackers. We're like biohackers. I really want this platform. I want the hardware and the soft goods to be as standardized and cheap as possible one day, or at least standardized as fast as possible, so that people can run interesting stuff on top of this standardized platform. And we're going to get into CRISPR eventually. I mean, people are fucking gene editing babies right now. The cat's out of the bag. It's never going back. If you don't know what CRISPR is, it's gene editing. It's like genetic engineering. I'm not anti-GMO. I'm anti corporate evil. I'm anti-evil, right? I'm pro-corporate responsibility. I'm pro-expanding the definition of shareholders to include the community members of your customers. Like, that's how wide I think the definition should go. And at least should fucking include your customers. If you kill your customers, your shareholder value should go down. Your stock price should go down. And anyway, we're biohackers. All the interesting people are on the right. All the, what's the term? Controversial ideas are on the right. All the edgy humor is on the right. The left is advocating abstinence now. They are dabbling in the dark arts of late-term abortions. They're advocating corporate censorship. They're advocating government expansion via Second Amendment rights. They're fucking being run by fascists right now. The most vocal people on the left are fascists, and the most vocal people on the right are, what would you call them, libertarian? Like, leave me the fuck alone, man. Go get your abortion if you want, but, like, why you gotta celebrate it? You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? How much did your father ignore you that you are celebrating abortions? You know what I'm saying? That's some fucked up shit. It's like stupid. And I used to be one of those brainwashed idiots that believed everything this stupid television told me. And these people that sit there and talk like this and read a teleprompter and don't have an original idea in their mind because that's not what they're paid to do. And as soon as they do, they're out of here, right? And that, that model only works when the person on the other side of the screen genuinely believes they're superior to you. So it comes out across, and that's why they get paid so much money. So it comes out as the voice of authority. Versus stuff that's DIY on the internet, dude, I'm opening everything up, man. This is like the opposite of corporate media. And it will become the next generation corporate media. Don't get me wrong, but for now, it's not. So, Bill Nye, you can kiss my ass. John Oliver, you can kiss my ass. Global warming, you can kiss my ass. It's all bullshit. Global cooling is the real threat, plus every other piece of ecological pollution. You know, overfishing, everything, man. You know, factory farming, like everything but global warming. And oh, and by the way, global warming, it's going to be the opposite. Oh, and by the way, at global warming periods, populations of society has flourished. And oh yeah, by the way, global cooling periods, we've seen the plague and the dark ages. So no biggie, right? This time it'll be different. Food security for all. It's gonna be fucking legit. I can't wait. But I think I have to, and I'm exploring this all in real time. Okay, my motivation is to get this information and products in front of as many people as possible to make as big of an impact as I fucking can. Like as big an impact, positive impact as possible. And so I think, which is the conundrum or the paradox of business, that means I have to charge for this product versus give it away for free. Now, if I were my own marketing coach or consultant, I would say that to give all the information away for free and to sell your kit. If the money in this recent financial model is in the hard goods, then that's your business you should focus on, and everything else should support that main line of business because you don't have any bandwidth. You got to focus on your core 20% that produces 20% activity that produces 80% of your results. And in this case, it'd be selling these kits, and the information should then be there for free, which in turn on the digital platforms would garner more organic traffic and thus a bigger audience and thus more prospective buyers, then thus more sales of the core product. So maybe I should be giving up on the membership model. As much as I love the membership model, it may not be the best thing for this situation. Fuck me. I hate pivoting sometimes. Sometimes you just want to do what you want to do. You know what I mean? But in a business, you have to weigh the customers. A business exists by customer demand. So if customers don't want to buy a membership, then they're not going to buy a membership. I have an instinct that, based on historical data, people want kits. They want complete kits. They don't want a fucking low-cost membership site that they then have to go and spend a ton of time putting this together. And because there's so much of that information out there already, the relative value of DIY info is low. So charging for it is hard, which requires a tremendous amount of value creation. Like, and you get this, and you get this, and you get this, only, low fee. So, and I don't want to spend money. Okay. So maybe the route is to sell the kits at markup, use that money to sell more kits at markup, and maybe moving forward, my question is, do I just show everybody how to make these things themselves, or do I sell the kits? This is hard. When you're making your own product, it's hard to sell it too. My objective business hat is saying, sell the kits, share everything for free, license what's patentable, or patent what's patentable for licensing upstream to commercial B2B players. And create as large of a community as possible. And then maybe, if I don't charge for a membership site, people won't expect a certain amount. All the information is a gravy, besides the manual that comes with building the system. And then it could be user-generated content, which would be good. Yeah, I don't know. Shipping is a pain in my ass. I don't want to ship 35 parts from 17 different vendors. You know what I mean? It's a pain in the butt. Alright, guys. Anyway, if you want to know what the fuck's going to happen next, subscribe today. StackFarm. Get growing. What are you waiting for? Winter's coming. Alright, I gotta get to my real job. Make America grow again, people! I don't want to remember it.